No, I'm giving an example. You're saying,
yeah, I think so.
You're saying you're born politically left or politically right.
Yes.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I knew you weren't going to buy it.
I know. Well, I'll tell you why.
I knew you weren't going to buy it.
Like, recently I had a conversation.
Patrick Bet-David on the PBD podcast absolutely went after his co-host Adam Sosnick for being ridiculously woke, as he normally is. A lot of people have a huge problem with Adam on the PBD podcast. He's definitely the person that they complain about the most. And this clip is a prime example of why people complain about Adam and the ridiculous takes that he has. And this time, it was so ridiculous that Patrick Bet-David himself had to step in and shut Adam down. And it was very brutal. Let's get into this clip here from the Value Time YouTube channel and the PBD podcast, where Patrick Bet-David shuts down his co-host, Adam Sosnick.
Right? I think 12% of America, kids are born, not just America, kids are born. 12% of kids are born. And those are the ones that are kind of like, I kind of see what you're saying. It's a good point. Let me see what he has to say. You know what, Gerard, you made a good point. Phil, I don't know. I agree with him now, but Gerard, he just said something. Let me kind of weigh this out.
They're malleable.
I think there's about 12% that's malleable, okay? If you are able to, whoever converts that 12% the best, that party wins. Mm-hmm. So this isn't about fighting somebody that's never going to switch, left or right. This is about finding that 12% of reasonable people that are willing to sit there and say, here's my argument. What do you think? Well, pal, what do you think? I read one time in the article, it said this. How many the 40%?
How many of the 40% unswayable on either side?
Oh, they know.
Listening to this right now.
They know.
Convinced they're in that 12%.
Let me put it to you this way. The group that knows they're not is a group that says Pat has no clue what the hell he's talking about. But there's a group that's listening to this that's saying, I can't say this to anybody. I can't admit to it. Definitely I cannot admit to anybody. But I got to tell you, lately I've been kind of questioning some of this shit. It's like not making any sense. Why the hell would you get rid of, AP and honors program? Tell me how that makes any sense. Why the hell would you fire this person? Why the hell would you want to do this to taxes and change the incentives? Why the hell would you want to give people money to nonstop? I saw how my dad did that to my sister. My sister's now this. Yeah, I don't know if stuff is starting to make sense to me. Like, believe me, the 12% of the populace is already questioning it. On both sides. They're sitting there questioning it on both sides. Challenge is to be able to convert them. So if this is true, let's just say if this is true. Yeah. If this is true, you know what this means? 88% of arguments are worthless.
I do believe that.
88% of debates are worthless.
They're fun,
Did you understand what I said?
I fully agree with that.
If this is correct.
So protect your energy, big time.
Yeah, 88% is a waste of time.
But are you saying this is exclusive in America or worldwide?
No, worldwide. No, I think this is worldwide.
And you're saying born.
I think you're born.
Like how you're saying you're born gay, you're born straight. There's nothing.
No.
What is nature versus nurture? You're saying this is completely.
Gay. I'm not saying gay.
No, I'm giving an example. You're saying.
Yeah, I think so.
You're saying you're born politically left or politically right.
Yes.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I knew you weren't going to buy it.
I know. Well, I'll tell you why.
I knew you weren't going to buy it.
Like, recently I had a conversation. That's what I was asking you, United States, worldwide. Like, so for instance, my sister loves Trump.
Okay.
Loves Trump.
Before we get into this argument here between Patrick Bet-David and Adam on the PBD podcast here, let me know in the comments, what do you think about what Patrick Bet-David just said there? Because I low-key disagree, a little bit. And I'm going to agree a whole lot more with Patrick Bet-David here in a second after they get into this argument. But I kind of disagree with what he said up front there, that people are just born a certain way. I think it is a nurture thing. I think by the time you're 10 years old, you kind of have the groundwork of which way you're going to sway. But I don't think you're just born, like in the womb, you're a conservative or you're a liberal, like inside of the womb. I don't think that's the case. Because if you just, like, the example that I use all the time, right? If I'm ever trying to make this point to somebody, is like, if somebody is born in Afghanistan, what religion do you think they probably are? They're most likely going to be Muslim, right? They're most likely going to be part of the Islamic religion. If somebody is born in Alabama, what religion do you think they probably are? They're probably going to be a Christian. Right? It's not because in the womb they were born in these religions, but it's because by the time they were 10 years old, all these beliefs have been instilled in them so much that they just, they're going to be those religions at that point. They don't really have much of a choice unless they, unlearn all the beliefs that they've been given, which is very rare for people to do. And people have, there's so many beliefs that have been implanted on us that we don't even realize have been implanted on us by our parents growing up, by the school system. Like, there's so many, especially limiting beliefs where people are like, for me, I run a coaching program where I teach people how to make money from YouTube, right? And a lot of people will come into that program and they they have these beliefs around money that just hold them back so much. You know, like there's so many beliefs that have been implanted inside of us revolving around money and how hard it is to make money, how much money is a lot of money, what do you really have to do to make a lot of money, how hard it is to run your own bit. All these things have been implanted on us, and they're all just lies. Like there's no truth to any of them, right? And there's so many examples of that as well. So I don't know if I believe we're just born in, you know, we have these things inside of us. Our liberalism or conservatism is predetermined before we're born. Because to be honest, like I wouldn't say that I was a liberal, but I definitely wasn't a conservative whenever I was like a senior in high school and a couple of years following that. You know, I used to think people were ridiculous for saying, you know, the race swapping stuff in Hollywood is a problem. Like I'll just be like, oh man, shut up and just enjoy the movie. You know, nowadays I can't even watch anything that Hollywood puts out because it's just all woke garbage. And so I wasn't born a conservative, I don't think.
Trump. Same parents, same dad, same mom, loves Trump. She couldn't tell you one policy.
Is she going to lose her job for loving Trump, or she's going to be okay?
This bitch hasn't worked in years. She's married to a wealthy dentist.
Damn.
Yeah, I said it.
Bro.
She's, yeah.
Sounds like Adam.
Yeah.
He's just married to his
You
cat.
all right, Adam?
What's funny is she's
Imagine how he
like,
talks about us.
yeah.
She's
She's like a
great
communist
Great
dictator.
Damn.
That just her husband's
Got
a
it.
wealthy dentist.
Awesome.
And anyway,
We're on fire today.
She
Shout
loves.
out
Sis,
Adam
I
Sister.
promise you he loves you. I promise he loves you. Keep
she's
going.
all right. I do love my sister. Do I like her? We'll see. But she loves
Why
Trump.
don't you talk about it?
Yeah, let's bring it up. Let's go a 10-minute diatribe. My family.
Bring
right
a
now.
couch here. Let this guy lay down for a quick
That's
second.
Gerard. That's Gerard.
That's me.
So another conversation I had recently was with a friend of mine from Israel.
Yeah.
And they were obviously you see a lot of results that are happening with the vaccine. Not to get too vaccine-y right now, but I said, who's hesitant in Israel taking the vaccine? And they go, oh no, it's the people on the left. I said, what? They go, yeah, the people on the way left, they don't want to do anything with the vaccine. I said, hold on, let me get this straight, because traditionally in the United States, it's not traditionally, like we've seen a lot of young male skewing right do not want to take the vaccine. A lot of African Americans won't take it as well.
Anti-establishment either way. It's been
Sure.
far right.
If you enjoy content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
in Israel
And then
for a long
so they
time.
flipped it on me. They were like, yeah, it's the people on the left, highly educated, just factors that you did not expect to hear.
It's highly educated people here
Yeah.
too, actually.
Questionably.
No, it's quantifiably. We did it 3 podcasts ago.
So
PhDs.
So it wasn't a left.
Bro, give me that red button.
It flipped it. So the point is this: I'm not understanding. Like, depending on where you're born, depending on what country you're in, I think politics is completely different. I don't think just because you were born in the United States that you're automatically going to be on the left or the right.
So
I'm not understanding why.
So here's the
Let's
question
go.
for you. Let me go a little layer deeper. Okay. You ever seen a family, same mom and dad, 4 kids? One becomes a phenom, crushes it. One just a regular government employee. One becomes a drug addict, and one becomes a priest. You ever notice, like, what the hell just happened there? Same mom and dad, same environment, same upbringing, 4 different human beings.
Yeah.
I think there's a part of your DNA where you're wired in a certain way, and a big part of it is politically. Because so don't get me wrong, I have these other 4 issues that I add to it. I made a video about this 4 years ago. I think it has to do with your upbringing. I think it has to do with your family. I think it has to do with your first person that took a liking into you and gave you a lot of love, and you feel like there's a certain level of loyalty to that person, whether that person's the left or right or rich or poor or whatever it is. You kind of have that loyalty to that person. A person early on that was an influencer that you started reading up on. You're like, oh my gosh, I believe in this guy's philosophy. I think all that stuff.
I do see where Patrick Bet David's coming from a bit more now, where that does make a lot of sense, because that is true. There's if you look at a family of 4 kids, most of the time they're not all going to be wildly successful, but there's going to be one of them that's an outlier that is wildly successful. Then the other ones are going to go off, and like you said, one might end up in jail, one might be a priest, whatever. So that makes sense, because I definitely do think that is in our DNA. But also, just because those 4 kids are born into the same family with the same parents doesn't mean they necessarily have the same life experiences. But now Patrick Bet David's kind of going into that, and he's explaining that there's other factors as well, but your DNA plays a huge part in it. And I think that makes sense, because there's definitely a truth to your DNA playing a part in if you are successful or not. There's no doubt about it.
Stuff has also a place to it. And then I think it also has to do with if you had a bad experience with gun when you were, 16 years old, one of your little nephews or, nieces saw a gun, dad left it there, shot themselves, you're probably never going to like guns.
This is all stuff that happens while growing up, though.
Sure.
What does this have to do with being born?
I agree. But I still think there's a part of people where your wiring is to be one side. Because there is no way a guy on the left and a guy on the right, smart both on both sides. They're smart on both sides. Left thinks the right's dummies, and the right thinks the people on the left are dumb. Neither one of them are dumb. Then what is it with them? Because they're both very convicted in their beliefs. How did that happen?
It's what they prioritize. So I tend to agree with you, but I also tend to agree with Adam. I don't think it's a left and right issue because politics are constantly evolving. I do think that there's a proclivity to either value intellect or emotion. I think that some people don't care whether or not you're right as long as you make somebody feel good. You understand? Like there's some people that are like, I don't care if I'm right as long as that person feels good and comfortable with me. And then there's other people that are like, if that person can't be comfortable with the truth, to hell with them, right? And that's
you.
That's definitely me, right? Yeah, you can ask the
It's like
the
the book
lunchroom
that was
yesterday.
just written about Peter Thiel, Contrarian, right? That guy you keep talking about. Maybe it's conform and non-conform.
Yeah, I think that's what it is right there. I think that is what it is right there. People are not born left or right because it depends what country you're born in, right? Like Adam was saying earlier, and look, Adam did a pretty terrible job at explaining his point. But like Adam was saying earlier, left and right mean different things in different countries. So it's not like the universe knows before you're born what country you're going to get born into, and therefore they implant left-wing or right-wing beliefs based on the country that you're going to be in before you're born. I don't think that's the case, but it could be conformity and non-conformity is part of your DNA. I would 100% believe that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. I can get behind that for sure. And so there's going to be people who are born who are willing to conform, even though there's not, truth behind the law that they're conforming to. And there's going to be people who only will conform to the truth and to things that they think are righteous. And if you're in the United States, you're either going to be born left wing or right wing based on your conformity and the DNA, what your DNA says about your conformity level. If you're non-conforming, you're going to be right wing. If you are conforming, you're going to be left wing. That can be completely different based on not just what country you're born in and where your location is, but also what time period you're born into. Because 50 years, 70 years ago, if you were born non-conforming, you probably would have been left wing, right? Like a while ago, you would have been like a hippie, or like the left wing were supposed to be the rebels. The right wing were just supposed to be the conservatives who were just like, leave us alone. Like, we just don't want to do any, like, we don't want to make any changes, right? Now it's like the right wing are forced to be the rebels because of how authoritarian the left wing has gotten. So it also depends which time period you're born in, not just your location.
Maybe it's agree and disagree. Maybe it's question and don't question.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that. But to me, there is an element of some people that just say, oh, yeah.
Some people have to be liked.
Yeah.
They have to be liked.
And some people are just kind of like, but, there's a part of...
Yeah, I agree with that. I can agree. I can get behind that. There's a lot of left-wingers, I think, that will just say and believe things that they know are incorrect just so that they can fit in with the echo chamber. Let me know in the comments, though, what you guys think about Patrick Bet-David proving Adam wrong once again and really going after Adam there and destroying his arguments. I don't even fully disagree with what Adam was saying. It's just that the way he presented his argument was really, really bad. But let me know in the comments, who do you think is in the right here? Do you think it's Patrick Bet-David, or do you think it's his co-host here, Adam Sauce?